Hello, it's Mike Ferry, and welcome to Mike Ferry TV, the week of May 16th. You know, I forgot last week to say to Valerie Caro and Tony Smith, thank you for the great job they did while I was overseas in Europe doing seminars. I have to tell you, my wife and my staff have made the decision to change a little bit of our name as a company because, see, we have been known as the Mike Ferry Organization forever. And now they want to change the name, the Mike Ferry Organization, International, because now we're working in Europe. We've been invited now to go to Malaysia, to China, to Dubai. We're going to be working in Russia in October. We're going to be working in Great Britain, as well as France, Belgium, Italy, etc. So we're excited, and I was really thankful that during that 7 weeks we were gone, from the middle of March till the end of April, that Valerie Caro, Tony Smith, and they filled in and they did a great job, and I want to thank you for watching. Well, I'm back, stuck with me now for a while, so bear with it. We talked last week about the 4 essentials, the 4 essentials: knowing what to do, knowing what to say, maintaining a mindset, living with the success you have. What we're going to look at today is a couple of the thoughts that support that help you build that kind of a business. I wrote down something that I've said time and time again. Okay, so listen carefully. Selling real estate is very simple. It's just not easy. Why? Because if we don't know what to say and do, we can't do the job we're supposed to do. Selling real estate is very simple. It's just not easy. Our job is to get in the way of transactions. That's our job. Somebody has to buy, somebody has to sell. Our job is to get in the middle of that, to cause that transaction to come through us. See, it's simple. Get in the way of the millions of transactions taking place all over North America every year. It's just not easy to get in the way. So what we're going to look at today are 3 or 4 thoughts to help you build the confidence to get in the way. So let me go through some of these thoughts that are all subtitles under the 4 essentials from last week. Here's the first thought. Understand the sales and income difference. Now listen carefully. Understand the sales and income difference between a listing agent and a selling agent. Understand the sales and income difference. All right, so let's do a be honest. You take 4 listings in the course of a month, and there is a pretty good chance that 3 of the 4 is going to sell, maybe all 4, okay? You're going to invest time in prospecting and lead follow-up, pre-qualifying. You're going to spend 30 to 40 minutes on the actual presentation to get the contract signed. Now flip that to the other side. You're going to work with the buyer. You're going to spend hours, days, and sometimes week with a motivated, functioning, financially capable buyer that wants to buy a house. And why? Because the inventory is limited in most of North America, and you're scrambling all the time, and you're on the dead run trying to find something for that buyer. So the income difference is dramatic. Let's look at the sales difference. All right. There's one set of skills required here to list property. It's a hard set to learn because it takes real salespersonship. Over here is a different set of skills for that particular buyer. I mean, let's be honest. Outside of handling objections and asking for a signature, tell me what the great skills are that are required to go ahead and sell a house. I mean, can you find the house? Yeah, you can. Can you open the front door? Yeah, you probably can. Can you get out of the way so they can walk in and buy it? Because that's really the challenge. Can we get you out of the way? Because, see, the trouble we have is that we get in the way by saying dumb things, stupid things, insignificant things that actually cause them not to buy. I've said for years, if you can open the door and let them go through and stay outside, the chances of them buying are better because your lack of skills actually gets in the way of the sale. So the skills are completely different. You know and I know that listing agents earn way more money than selling agents do. I mean, we're not even talking about a comparison here. We're talking about night and day. We're talking about oranges and apples. We're talking about a Rolls Royce and a Toyota here, okay? The difference in income. Oh yeah, you could sell 10 or 15 homes in a year as a buyer, working with buyers. You might even sell 20. And there's one or two that we have as clients that sell a lot more. Those people are rare. The money in real estate, if you check your statistics in your area, the money goes right to and through the listing agents. But also, and you've heard me say this now for 2 straight years, the listing agent is the employer, the showing agent is the employee. By the way, I've been talking about this for a couple of years, and now all my competition are coming out with, oh my gosh, I've got a new idea that you've never thought of. If you're a listing agent, you're employers. Well, as with most things that we do, we have to create, as do you, faster than your competition can steal. Watch, your competition does not know how to list property. You do. Your competition does not know how to go out and process and find listings every day. You do. Well, that is a sales and income difference that is second to none. So if we look at the 4 essentials, the first essential is to understand the sales and income difference between a listing agent and an agent that sells homes. The second thing that in terms of really understanding this process, I wrote down, we have to be willing to change our sales behavior and learn a totally different set of skills. That's hard, okay? So think about this. How long have you been in real estate? How long have you been involved in the field of selling? What was your sales experience prior to going into real estate? What was your business experience? Did you have any business experience? Did you have any sales experience? Do you have any direct sales experience? Shocking. We do seminars every day, and I ask audiences every day, how many of you came from a direct sales background? 500 people in the room, 3, 5, maybe 8. That means that of 500 people, 493 have no idea what the selling field is all about. So they're going into a business where they don't have any sales behaviors to support it. So everything is learned. Are you studying selling as well as you would study something else? If you had a real job and the boss says, you have to learn these 3 things to get paid your salary, you learn them. Well, I'm standing before you saying there are a lot of things you have to learn if you're going to become a great listing agent. And you have to learn first that you have to change some of your behaviors. You're independent contractors. You don't have to go to work. You're independent contractors. You don't have to do what your broker is asking you to do. Independent contractor, you don't have to do what I ask you to do. However, if you do the things we ask you to do, what do you think is going to happen? Your behavior will change. But now, why do I ask you about your length of time? Well, let's go a step further. What is your physical age? We were in Orlando in mid-March doing the Century 21 convention. And there was an interesting statistic put up, which I'm not sure is 100% correct, but it sure goes with what I've been saying for 2 years. I've been saying for the last couple of years, the average age of a real estate agent is going up by 12 to 15 years over the last 4 to 5 years. They stood up and said the average age of a real estate agent was 57 years old in the United States today. Now, some of you are going to say, no way. Look at my office. It's all these young, cool guys and gals. Well, according to their statistics, 7% of the realtors in the U.S. today are under age 35, which means that whole millennial nonsense that everybody keeps talking about, you got to market to the millennials, you got to find the millennials. Well, all the reports say millennials are not buying homes, they're renting. Millennials are renting in the city, not renting in the suburbs. Millennials aren't even in the real estate business. 7% of 1.2 million realtors today. And I see this report every year, 30 under 30 people under 30 years old selling real estate. You know what? That's hard to find the 30. Why? Because the average age has gone up, which means, now listen to me here, that means that as we get older, it's harder to change those behaviors that we have. I'm asking you to change your sales behavior. I'm asking you to look at a different set of skills. When you worked in a job, some of these skills weren't necessary. I said to this audience in Toronto a couple weeks ago, hey, listen, if you're not going to do your job, get a job working at the cemetery, because at least you'll have a lot of expireds in front of you all the time. Most of them didn't get it. Too bad, isn't it? Well, they don't have the skill set required to make it happen. But the third thing I want to mention to you today is to understand the importance of your value proposition to the seller. Your value proposition. What's the difference between you and your competitors? Is there a difference between you and your competitors? Can you identify the difference between you and your competitors? Can the sellers identify it? Okay? So I want to give you some examples of the difference between you and your competitors, or in essence, that which makes you unique, which is then, of course, your value proposition. Okay, the best example I can give you, Mike Ferry's too tough, he's too nasty, he's too mean, it's part of my value proposition. Do you want a wimp up here telling you what to do, which is what my competitors in most cases are? Be nice to people, smile a lot, be happy, tell them how pretty their home is. Give me a break. Either you want to sell your home or you don't. Not complicated. Either you want to buy a home or you don't. See, part of my value proposition is my strength when I present. So I wrote down examples of value proposition. The strength of your presentation. Are they giving you a standing ovation when you're done because your presentation was so great? I doubt it. But are they applauding once you've left because you're finally out of the house? Happens all the time. Watch, example of value proposition. Your energy and enthusiasm. And if that is demonstrated, that's part of your value proposition. Hi, I'm so excited to be here tonight. That isn't a listing presentation. That's a pathetic person that is dead in the field of selling that is out trying to list a property. Watch, your professional approach and appearance. How strong is your approach? Knowing what to say. A firm handshake. Looking him in the eye. Your appearance. Are you dressed professionally? For the men, is your tie on straight? Have you combed your hair? Are your shoes shined? Are your nails clean? For the ladies, do you have your makeup on? Do you have your best business suit out? Because guess what? You can separate yourself just from energy, enthusiasm, approach, and obviously appearance. And then I wrote down an example, having and using good professional materials. Are your materials professionally done? I wrote down the use of a canned presentation, which is what we've been teaching for 41 years. And you know what's interesting? Somebody said, Mike, how have you lasted 41 years? Because I tell people the truth about what to say and what to do. And it revolves around a canned presentation. Knowing exactly what to say on every aspect of that listing presentation. Watch, having 5 or 6 valid reasons they should pick you versus somebody else. Part of your value proposition. Can you identify 5 or 6 valid reasons they should pick you versus somebody else? Because if you can, guess what? They're going to pick you versus somebody else. And then, of course, I wrote down last as an example, the use of a strong marketing or sales plan. See, these are all parts of what impresses that seller to select you versus somebody else. So what we have to work on is changing our behavior, creating that value proposition where they say, you are the person we want to work with. Think about it a lot. Watch this particular episode every day this week. Guess what? Your value proposition will become stronger and the 4 essentials become more deeply embedded in your mind. I'll look forward to chatting with you guys and gals next week.